any number of security people in charge of border security in the United States indicated that a large number of single male Middle Eastern types have crossed the border and are now surveilling American military bases.
Yes, I've heard these reports. Yes.
Yeah, and one of them was actually shot to death by a special forces guy when he observed him photographing his house and his children on an army base. And the guy turns out to be a Chechen Muslim. And these guys, these security experts that raised the alarm, well, you just indicated what's happened to them. They need re-education, sensitivity training. They need DEI instruction. I mean, this is like the Chinese Cultural Revolution or something out of 1984 with George Orwell's Newspeak.
That's precisely what it is, yes.
Well, you know, this is going to figure very prominently in this upcoming election in the United States. Look.
There is a connection, brother. Before you continue, I must interrupt you and say that as follows. There may well be a very real connection between the huge numbers, apparently we're talking about millions, of young military age men with military demeanor, physically fit, who seem to work in organized groups. They seem to have men, officers or leaders who give them instructions, and they're crossing the border by the millions. Those are not refugees. Refugees come as family groups, a father, a mother, and children, maybe grandparents as well, an old father, an old mother they have to look after, and they're running away, fleeing from some disaster or economic circumstance. That's what refugees look like. When you have huge numbers of young military-age men from countries that have no conception and no history and no experience of Western democracy, Western values, Western society, crossing the border in huge numbers, unimpeded, you must ask yourself, where are these people coming from? Who is organizing it? Who is paying for it? Because someone's paying for all of this. And it has been suggested by certain commentators, which is what I think you're alluding to, that perhaps these young men in huge numbers are being placed in different parts of the United States in order to, at a given moment when they receive their instructions, to begin causing mayhem, to cause insurrection, some kind of revolution, revolt, etc. And this may be connected to the upcoming election. It could be, I do not consider it impossible, shall we say. I don't have proof of this, but I think it's quite possible that the regressives, the leftists, the woke maniacs who wish to take over America, if Trump is reelected, that they will press that red button and these people will spread all over the country and cause mayhem.
Look, when you look, and God knows I've looked at a lot of videos of these encampments on various university campuses, and the organizers all look Middle Eastern. Now, I hate to be, stereotype people, but, when these organizers suddenly throw a rug down on the ground and you hear the call to prayer, being beamed out over their public address system, and hundreds of them, these are engaged in, saying the salat, and all this other stuff. A lot of them aren't students. And when they've been arrested,
they are professional agents provocateurs.
Correct. And where have they come from? Some across the border. They have no identification. They have no documentation. But, well, they know everything about Hamas and ISIS and Al Qaeda and all these groups.
And they've all received training. Many of them military training, and many of them revolutionary social engineering training, a la CCP, KGB, etc. How to subvert a society.
With these guys coming across the border, could we be looking at an October 7th type scenario following the election of a Republican? And the answer is there's a high probability of that. I mean, when the security people in the United States are raising the alarm that they're finding a lot, and when they use the word a lot, we're not talking about scores or hundreds. We're talking about thousands of these guys are being caught, observed, apprehended, whatever, surveilling strategic military sites in the United States.